Well, welcome back, or welcome to kind of the final piece of this story that I'm going to share with you that has to do with wrapping up and kind of sharing my testimony for how things went down with this situation with the house. So, all right. So I don't want to go too far back to, the drama of everything. I do want to go back enough to kind of chime in about the fact that I'm a planner. And so even though my plans aren't always the same plans as God's plans, I always feel very compelled to have a plan. So the first time we got denied, like I said, it was right about the 1st of March. That's when I had to kind of go into backup plan mode. So I had a lot of different ideas and faith and confidence, because we did have some savings, that we could do a lot of different things. We could have fun. We could, do some VRBOs. We didn't have to feel rushed and stressed out, was kind of my thought process. So also right there at the 1st of March, I'm a fan of the Nextdoor app. I don't know if you use that, but from there I'd found, I'd been seeing people talk about how hard it was to find a rental, and even one of the local news stations here talked about how if you wanted to find a rental now, you really should have a realtor working with you. So I looked into a realtor on Nextdoor, and because I have a background in real estate and I coached people for years about doing business by referral only, I didn't want to leave out somebody that was close to me, that being our next door neighbor to this side of us. He's a realtor, and he got his license not long after they moved in next door to us, and I think that was just about 3 years ago or so. And they have a daughter, our oldest daughter's age. So the girls had been fast friends for a long time, and they've got a little boy. So we've always loved on them, and we share back and forth. Like if I've got too many chilies, or if I've got some seeds, or we share citrus pickers, and we've just always been connected. So I wanted to touch base with him too and just say, hey, this is what's going on. We really think in the end we're going to be able to, save this and stay in this house. But if we don't, here's the deal. And he's like, yeah. He was like, it's too bad that you just, if you had zero credit at all, he was like, that's how you could buy easily right now. He's like, but otherwise you either have to have zero credit or, great credit. And he talked a lot about how hard the rental market was right now, which we kind of knew, but he said that he would keep us in mind, and if he heard of something or thought of something, he would let us know. And so from there, we just decided again to use our savings. Oh, and I also talked to a lender in that kind of whole process, and found out that really where we were at, we could have, probably pulled off trying to buy something right then, with, like I say, with the savings that we had, and maybe borrowing some money from family and stuff to add more to our down payment, if you will, because of where our scores were at the time. So we decided, like I said, to take a good part of our money and pay off the things in our credit that we thought that were adversely affecting that rental application. And to be honest, with all the stress of the last year or so, and that the girls and I went away. Honestly, we went away to my family in North Texas, and we just didn't think about anything to do with here. The girls, none of the kids knew. It was only Dale, my husband, and I that knew what was going on. And that for us was good, because that enabled us to stay really faithful and really positive without the anxiety and the worries of our kids and everybody else. And I talked to one of my aunts, my Aunt Jill, just a little bit about it. But like I said, I felt so confident that it was going to work out in our favor, this or something better, that I just didn't really make a big deal out of it. And so we came back And then really like within a week, we got all those things taken care of with the credit bureau, with those different little places. And so then we just kind of needed that time for it to roll over onto our credit. So, and then one little thing that we thought that was in our corner is this little liaison that we had been talking to, or assigned to at that property management company. He had kind of led us to believe that we could get more than just the 60 days originally given to us, that maybe he could get us another 60 days. So that, again, gave us this feeling that, this was all going to work out. And just kind of to touch base, on March 31st, I think it was a Friday, I called Tom and said, I want you to know that we're going to reapply, and I wanted to hear back from you on getting us that extra time. And he's like, oh, you're not going to get any extra time because your application was denied, which this doesn't make any sense. But because your application was denied, we're not going to be able to give you any extra time to move out. So great that you're reapplying, but the 60 days is the 60 days. So there is where we had to be ready to make decisions. Because we only still had until April 30th. We could have disputed it because literally like a couple of days after we got denied a second time, we got all the updates on our credit report that said that our credit was not the way they saw it. So we could have disputed it, but again, with as many people and as kids as we have, it's like, how can you just sit there and wait? So before we knew that we were denied for the second time, in that very first week of March, we heard from our neighbor. We call him Hotto, but professionally, and I want you to know him professionally, he goes by Jay. So Jay calls my husband and he says, hey, and I want to talk to you about something, about the rental kind of thing that you guys are going through. And so he put me on speakerphone and he said, I've got this house that I just bought. And because he and his family and his brother-in-laws, they do a lot of buying and investing besides just the work that he does for real estate. And so he said, I've got this house, and it's nothing like, like up here, meaning where we lived. And it's, it doesn't have a pool, and it doesn't have a lot of the different things that make where we live right now what it's like. He said, but because he knows that we garden. I mean, we literally talked over our fence all the time, either the kids talking to them or us talking to him over the fence. That's how neighborly we were, So he said, but I think that it could be something for you guys if you want to check it out. And we were like, well, we're kind of, he said, well, there's a tenant in there right now. He said, but the tenant is going to be out, I think he said like on the 10th or the 9th. And so I put, because I'm the queen of calendar notes and timers and stuff, so I put a note on my calendar for, I think it was like April 11th, to get a hold of Hotto and see what the deal was with that house, because again, I like having stuff in my back pocket, because I also kind of had this thing in my back pocket with my other next door neighbor. They have a couple rental properties and they were thinking about renting that house out, and they were thinking about maybe doing that in 6 months, which would have been about September. That's why I kind of played with those ideas of maybe doing a VRBO, or maybe doing some really interesting things to just be somewhere until we got into our next place to be. So I got that notification. It was actually a Sunday, so I don't know if I have the date exactly right, but I got the notification on my phone. And I don't know if I've ever shared how much of a bath taker I am, but it's my sanctuary, or it was, So I was in the bath, and the children and Dale and my mom are playing Mexican Train. It's this domino game. And I was just really, really in a zone, with positive thoughts and positive feelings, and just really, really, really really feeling good about us staying in this house. And then all of a sudden, something said to me, you really need to go look at that house. Like, you need to tell Dale right now to get a hold of Jay and ask him if we can see that house today. So I got out and I dried off and I texted Dale, because he's downstairs. I said, why don't you see if we can see that house? So he was upstairs in a couple minutes and he said, yeah, he says that he's over at the house right now working on it and for us to come on by. And so I said, okay, well, I'm going to do what I do for makeup and then we'll head out, And so we knew from the cross streets again, and we had before then, the day that he told us about it, we had looked it up on the maps and, kind of like, definitely a different area from where we lived up there. But I do want to say on a side note, we didn't ever set out to live in some beautiful place like we did up there in North Glendale. That was really all because back in 2016, when we were trying to combine homes, I literally could almost not find a 4-bedroom or a 5-bedroom that would work for everybody, because my mindset at the time is that I'm combining families, I need a lot of space, I want everybody to have room to move around, I want that to be, and that was my concept of keeping the stress down. I mean, holy moly, kids are kids. They're going to be stressful no matter how big the house or how small it is. So we weren't attached to having to be in an HOA, okay? So we come down here, and as we pull up to the house, like, because you saw how it looked with it getting gutted. So a part of that gutting meant that the front berm was just piled. I mean, it was probably as tall as me. And so we pulled in, and you just, for somebody like me, you just can't like not get excited about this much land, weather, and that's another thing where I have to do a side note with you is when we realized that we were going to be shifting gears, maybe shifting gears fast, I said, look, we really need to get clear on this 5-year plan that we've had. Like, are we really going to go live on some land like outside of town and deal with all the wildlife? And are we really, really going to do that? Because even when we thought that that's what we were going to do, we really thought that we'd probably be living in a mobile home or something out there on a piece of land, battling with the javelina and what have you. But I said, is that us, or are we the kind of people that would be happy on a half acre or an acre in town where we can still get to stuff, where we don't have to battle with so much? I mean, there's still javelinas in town, if you don't know. I mean, my dad, not my dad, but my husband, even when he's been out on a service call, he's had to do a little battle with a javelina. Like, that was in an apartment complex. So there's still stuff to deal with here. So when we got clear that we were people that our end goal was going to be a half acre to an acre in town, then this pulling up here really just kind of was like, hey. And that's with the front of the house being kind of and knowing that it was only 1,300 square feet. And then we come into the house, and it's like, but we walked through, and I don't know if you've ever been in, and this is where I might get emotional, if you've ever been in the flow of where God is trying to take you, there's this just veil that lightly rests so that you just see what He wants you to see. And baby, friends, that's all I needed to see. That's all I needed to see. So we ended up out here, Hato and I, under this tree talking. It was kind of one of those things where it's like, back in March, he didn't have this property. He hadn't even looked at buying this property. He literally bought this property within a week or two of telling us about it, you know? So even though he has a lot of ideas for this property, I really think that God just said, hey, buy that property. Now here's another little miracle thing in that. Hallelujah. I always, something in the back of my head, I kind of always had this idea that Hotto would be doing a seller carryback on that land that we were going to move out to, you know? So we get here and we start talking, and he's telling me about all the ideas that he has for the land and this house and stuff, and I'm like, you're gonna sell me this, right? You know, and he keeps talking, and as the wind blows through the breeze, and Dale is just like, he's going everywhere. He's all over this property. He's looking at different things. He sees trees and plants and stuff that I didn't even notice when we were coming through. You know, I got under this tree and I could feel it. I could feel that. I was like, yeah. The more I stood here and talked to him, the more I just could feel it. I was like, well, you know, and he told us how much he was going to be asking for rent, and I knew how much we were already paying. And I said, you know, we should just know any day now about this other application. I said, I feel really good about it. I said, but I feel really, really, really good about this. Like, I can see this. I can see this, you know. And so we still do some trotting around the house because, again, kind of in the euphoria when the veil's there, you're like, I need to look at everything again one more time. And that's actually right about the time where I was like, Dale, make me a video, go around, make me a video so that I really can know what I'm doing later. Because I can't, when I was this younger, when I was in my 20s and my late teens, I just was so bad about rushing into things and just not even seeing stuff, you know. And I that's my biggest, I don't know, pet peeve, but I never ever want to be like that again. So I have to be eyes wide open, you know. So we're out there and Dale's finished making the video, and I'm just kind of looking around the front yard. I walk out, and I'm not going to tell you other things because I still have to show you that in the video. So I was walking out looking at another fruit bearing something out there, and we get back up to the front door and we're saying our goodbyes, and Jay's like, you can bring the kids by if you want, and whatever, you can come back and look at it anytime you want. And the whole time, like, we're standing there, from like the minute I went back through the house until I was standing there, like, my phone is just like blowing up, which is weird because, like, I mean, I get a lot of notifications on like my clients' accounts and stuff, but like it just was an inordinate amount of messages. And so we get in the car and we're both just like, you know, just so excited, like, oh my gosh, can you believe that? That's it. That's our deal. I mean, can you feel it? And so then I start looking at my phone. And when I was standing right out there telling him that, yeah, we think this could be the thing for us, they sent the other denial. That's God literally saying, I opened the door while the other door was shutting. Do you feel me, people? I opened the door just as the other one was shutting. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Okay. The rest of the story is just littered with angels and miracles along the way. You know, we were blessed to, like, Jay Hotto. He connected us with some movers, Justo's Movers. Amazing, okay? I've never used movers. I've never trusted movers because back when I was a realtor's assistant, she would have me hire movers and I'd have to hire 5 to 6 movers to hope that one mover showed up. But I took that recommendation from Hotto because there were certain things that we that really, really stressed me out about all of this, that I really, really didn't want to do. And we had to keep working. My husband had to keep working. I had to keep working. And the big thing I didn't want to do was clean that house. Like, do the top to bottom move out clean. And the one thing my husband really didn't want to do was have to pack up and move. So I did all the packing, and we hired movers. And I want to tell you about these people because they're worth me telling you, because they're worth hiring. And I'm going to put all their information down in the bottom. Then I found Tiffany off of next door after another lady had come by and spent 20 minutes of my time talking to me about how she was going to quote me on my house, and she didn't. But Tiffany, I think her cleaning service is like T&D services, and she was just phenomenal. She came and she spent a good 8 hours in the house, and even when I had some things that I was like, she came right back with a cheerful, awesome attitude and got them fixed. And so she's somebody that I definitely will lean on to help me in the future. And the floor guy that I got, again, phenomenal. Love the pricing. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but I will definitely put it down in the description or the comments. Now, here's a couple of little more just like miracles that went on. So, we went through a full renovation. Well, one thing that popped up in the middle of all this is that our oldest son does some work with a cleaning lady. That's who we wanted to do the move out clean. But she happened to be going out of town, which means that took Seth away from us, because Seth is our oldest, most capable, but he needed to house sit for her. So every evening at like 5 o'clock, when I really needed a bunch of help from him and his dad, he was going over to the cleaning lady's house. But on the turn of that, when we wanted to get in here on the 28th, so we would have those last 2 days to do just wall fixing stuff, painting stuff, the cleaning lady coming, the flooring people, all that sort of, and we still had to move the garden. So, but because we wanted to get in here on that day, that meant not every single room was done. My mom's room, the floor in there was not done. But so that's where another little miracle came in, because the boys were house sitting. My mom could use their room, and by that weekend, the floor was put in, and boom, it just all worked out. And then if you remember in the garden video, I talked about how we were moving the garden, like our truck got delayed. Well, our truck got delayed. The 16-foot truck that we ordered got delayed. And then the next morning, the truck that came in had an oil leak. So they offered us a 24-foot truck, which all of that became a miracle, because when we found out that we didn't get the truck on Thursday, we were like, okay, great. We're just going to go get it all prepped and ready. We spent a good 5 or 6 hours that day. And between the 5 or 6 hours that we spent the next day, if we wouldn't have had that delay in the truck, that would have probably really been tough on us. And we would have had the pressure of having to get the truck back. But because of all the delay with the truck, we got a bigger truck. So we got everything in just one trip. So that was just another one of those miracles that worked out. And I'm sure there's more. I've tried to write them down. I've tried to keep up with them. But I think the biggest one that stood out to me the most was just genuinely not having any clue besides the little ideas that I had in my head. But by just really releasing and letting go there for even just 2 months, and really even being really positive and believing that everything was going to work out, it just did. It just really did. And it's mind-blowing, But that's why I said in that video, when I told you about that we were losing the house, is that over and over and over and over and over, since I had Maisie in my belly, I've stood so firmly in the fact that God did not bring me this far to drop me on my face, and he hasn't, and he still hasn't, and I still just don't believe he will, So I just want you to know that, and I want you to be so encouraged by this, because I know that my stuff it's almost fairy tale how it turned out, and you're probably gonna think that stuff just doesn't turn out for you like that, and I just really want you to know that it sure does. It sure can, So Thanks for watching this super long video. And I'm so excited to get going with just like I counted today, and I have 51 grow bags, counting my strawberries, and I have 12 empty bags, and I'm like, I need more bags. So I'm gonna wrap this up, and I hope that this was inspiring to you, and I really want to thank so many of you for constantly saying nice stuff to me, constantly praying for me, constantly reaching out to me, and really meant a lot. And I'm so grateful to be back and pumped and ready to just start sharing and encouraging you every day with all the goodness, all the love, all the light. So I hope you have the best day ever, friends, and let's do this.